Tara, thank you so much for being here. This is absolutely incredible. One, we're so excited to have you on the MyHome platform. I mean, one is like our first 50 vendors. It's just, I cannot wait till we launch this product, we go live, and then we can bring you all of these customers. But like, before we dive into, MyHome and working with all of that, I'd love to learn a little bit about you, about your story, your background, like where did you grow up? How did you end up in this industry? And just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I grew up as an Army brat, so I think I've moved over 26 times in my life up until this point. My dad was in the Army, my grandfathers were in the Army, my uncles, so I grew up moving from
just
post to post every 2 to 3 years.
Did you have a favorite post growing up?
I liked Fort Ord, which is no longer
where's
near
that?
Monterey in California. It's beautiful out there. I wish I had been a little bit older to actually enjoy it. You know, maybe more independent.
The fun scene.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I did live in Brazil when I was 5.
So cool.
I only have a few vague memories of that.
Do you speak Portuguese?
So my parents said I used to speak Portuguese, but I remember like crazy monkey, maluco macaca or something.
It's like the only word I know in Portuguese.
So my brother and I grew up. I just had my brother, and my mother was a teacher, and we moved from post to post and lived that type of life. So just having to adapt and go to new schools, make new friends.
Yeah. It's a challenging thing. I mean, I did not grow up as a military brat. It's like, that word is sometimes people are like, what does that mean? But just like growing up, with military parents that are moving you all over the place. How was it like in terms of, finding new friends and getting situated in all these new places? Like 26 moves, that's insane.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm an introvert by nature, so it was always a little more difficult for me to, just pick up everything and move to a new school and make new friends. But I think it definitely makes you more adaptable in life.
Oh, for sure.
Especially going into the military myself.
So like how did that transition? So your dad was in the military. You obviously got to see what the lifestyle was like. You had a little bit of background. I'm sure you knew what the ranks were and everything. Yeah. So you had that prereq kind of going in. But like tell me a little bit about like your decision to go to West Point and how that all transpired.
So I just had the opportunity to go up to West Point and go to a football game, which, sometimes that's not the best. It's a good selling point for West Point, but not always the best, decision-making day. But, so I had the chance to go to West Point or go to Tulane for Navy ROTC scholarship, and I was just like, let's just do it, see how it goes.
I know. So what company were you in when you?
So I was in E2.
Okay.
Go Dogs.
Yep, I was in Second Reg. A2.
Okay. So then B4. Go Buffs.
Nice. You was in Fourth Reg.
Okay.
B4.
Okay. Gotcha. I can't remember what they were.
Elvis.
Yeah. Okay.
Now
it was Go Naked, but I don't know what it is anymore. I'm sure they changed that.
So I just decided to go, and my mom always gave me an out, like, if you feel like it's not a good fit, you can come home.
Nice, that's a reassuring thing.
Yeah, and my dad was not a West Point grad. He went to LSU. His whole side of the family, big LSU fans, big LSU.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fun school.
Yeah. I remember my one daughter said, what country is in LSU in? I'm like, okay, you need to know that that's a state.
Yeah.
And don't say that in front of your family.
No, that's super exciting. So like at school, did you play any sports? Like what were like some of like your hobbies there?
I tried out for softball because I played that in high school, and then I went and did crew.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so I did that for 3 years, 3 of the 4 years.
Cool. The crew team is like, it's intense. My roommate did crew, and I remember her waking up so early in the morning, and you guys going and rowing down on the Hudson. I was like, that does not sound enticing to me at all.
Yeah. I don't know how they do it these days, but when I was there, we did it in the afternoons.
Okay.
So we would do like workouts maybe in the mornings. And
like some
get
lifts.
On the water. And our coach was from Britain, Great Britain, and he would be out there with his megaphone yelling at us in his accent.
That's hilarious.
It was fun.
Yeah, I mean, we see crew all the time, like up at school in Boston, You know, they're always on the river, and like I don't understand like how it really works. Like the team aspect of crew is insane. If one person's paddle isn't perfectly aligned, then it like chops the water. And
or if you're going full out in a race, or catches, we call it catching a crab, like it just completely, it rips out of your hand, and you know, you better duck.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone has to be on the exact same pattern, the exact same rhythm. Like you can't get like the guy in front of you can't get tired.
Yes.
Like it just has to be so synchronized. Yeah, that's so cool. So then, like going through like your West Point time, what did you branch after you graduated? What year did you graduate?
I graduated in '95.
Okay.
And then my grades were not stellar.
I don't think really many people's are.
Yeah. So my choice was, I picked MPs first because my dad was an MP. I did not get that. I don't remember what I picked second, but I picked engineers third, and that's what I ended up getting.
Oh, awesome.
And then I went to Fort Leonard Wood.
Yep.
Fort Lost in the Woods.
For Ebola, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And I ended up staying there. They assigned me there for a training assignment, I guess.
Like platoon leader role it
was like training new enlisted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So to get my platoon time, I volunteered to go to Korea, which I went up into the 2nd Engineer Battalion up in Camp Castle, probably 12 miles south of the DMZ.
That's so cool.
And that was exciting just because it was a new country and new.
Well, and 12 miles from the DMZ. Did you ever get to go?
We did not go up there. I can't remember if there were rules that we couldn't at the time. But yeah, it was fun to just.
Yeah, like be in South Korea.
Yeah.
What an experience. Was the food phenomenal? Like how were the people? Like was the
food
culture?
Yeah. There was what was it called? Outback Steakhouse down in Seoul that when we had time off, like that's where we were all going to get the blooming onion.
Yes, I love the blooming onion. That's awesome. So you did your platoon leader time there in Korea, and then did you PCS from there? Did you go to career course? So
they sent me back to Fort Leonard Wood because eventually, if I hadn't gotten out, that's where I would have had to go to school.
Yep.
So yeah, I did my XO time there. And
nice.
Then I got out.
Okay, cool. So you were in for 5 years or so?
I was in 5 years. Yep.
Nice, awesome. Well, thank you for your service.
Well, thank you for your support and your service.
Okay, so then after that, where did life take you? I know that transition from being in the military to the civilian world, it's very complicated. Sometimes, it could be really challenging. Like, what drove you to that next step, and where did you find yourself?
Yeah, so I met my husband on a blind date in the military, and we got married in '98, and we both ended up getting out in 2000 because everybody was like, it's the .com boom, you're going to get awesome jobs, so you need to get out. And so that's what we ended up doing, and we both went through like a recruiter and got jobs in Atlanta.
Cool.
So I ended up working for Honeywell Laser Technology Systems.
Nice.
Okay. They refurbished the blades that go in turbine engines.
Oh, wow.
On aircraft.
Yeah.
And they ended up getting bought out, so we stayed where my husband's job was with T-Mobile. So we stayed in Atlanta for 6 years, and then some other entrepreneurial stuff brought us from Atlanta into Pittsburgh, where my husband's from.
Okay.
And then we started a family in the meantime, so I was a stay-at-home mom for quite a few years until my girls got back into school.
So what was some of the, if you don't mind sharing, some of the entrepreneurial journey that you had while he was working and you were raising a family and everything?
Yeah, so he decided, he was just going to quit his corporate job and we were going to drop everything. I was 8 months pregnant with my second daughter.
There you go. That's how you do it.
Yeah. I was like, okay, here we go. So we moved up to Pennsylvania. He opened up a door company with his cousin,
Nice.
like the automatic doors when you walk into a grocery store, the ones that open up,
Mm-hmm.
or the ones that, are like for big manufacturing facilities.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the overhead doors.
Wow, so how did he find that? That's, you know, like how
So yeah,
going
his
from,
his cousin was already doing it, and my husband is super like entrepreneurial. Like he always looking for, you know, the next adventure. So they did that. My husband had already gotten back into the reserves while we were up there, so he ended up getting deployed.
Oh.
So that kind of took away from the company while he was gone, and they hired some family members. So we just ended up moving back to Atlanta after that, just because we didn't want to.
So kind of like backtracking a little bit. So when he was deployed, how many children did you have at that point?
I had 2 the first time.
Oh wow. Okay, so you were stay at home raising 2 kids. He was deployed overseas.
Yes.
That is probably, you know, even within itself just a challenge.
Yeah. So I feel like I've been in all the roles. Like I was a daughter, you know, of military servicemen. I'm the wife. I was in myself, and now my daughter is in the military. So
now you're.
I feel like I've come full circle.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so your husband comes back. Does he still run that company?
We decided not to. We didn't want to fire cousins and family members.
It's hard
for him to not fire, but that's a bad word to say. But for him to come back and take over, you know, what they had already filled in the gaps.
Right.
with.
Okay.
And we just felt like we enjoy the warmer weather and the diversity that Atlanta offered, like our kids to grow up in, and you know, with the different cultures and.
Yeah. Atlanta's a nice area.
It is, yeah. So we went back there for 2 years. My husband worked for T-Mobile at the time, and they were discussing a merge with AT&T. So we were kind of like, oh, if this happens, what's going to happen to his job? And so he decided to just put his resume out there, and he got hired with Shurian here, Shurian in Nashville.
Yep. That's it's insurance, right?
Yeah.
For like technology?
Like for your cell phone.
Right,
or if you buy something at Walmart and they ask you, do you want this?
Yeah.
I think it's, I don't know, there's different.
Yeah, it's like phones and any piece of technology is. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and they do like the U-Break iFix.
Yeah. That's the one likes to right downtown.
Yeah.
Right next to the building.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yep. Okay, cool. So then he got into that, and then what were you doing at this time?
So when my girls were, you know, going back to school, I've done recruiting for headhunters. I've, you know, been on both sides of that, finding companies that would like to hire former military, and then also finding junior military officers coming out and placing them into jobs.
Yeah.
I've worked in logistics for like 6 years. And then just recently transitioned into ownership of Mr. Electric.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Let's definitely dive a little bit more into that. I'd love to hear, you know, like how you found out about Mr. Electric, you know, what steps did it take for you to start the business, the sacrifices that you've had to make along the way in order to get where you are today. Yeah, just roll into some of those.
Yeah, so I am I'm not an electrician, obviously. But I think that's a good thing in a way where I can not be involved in the, you know, everyday appointments, where I can have like a bigger strategic picture over what's going on. So we researched Mr. Electric. We were researching franchises that were successful in an area that we knew there would be a need always. I mean, everybody always has something electrical going on in their house most of the time. Yeah. You know, so we just figured that would be a good, steady, stable business to get into.
Right, definitely.
So we researched it. Mr. Electric is actually part of Neighborly Group, which is like a home services, anything related to your home, whether it's your electric, whether it's your roof, you know, your windows.
It's like they own like a slew of different franchises, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a hub.
Yep.
And so we're part of that group. And we just like their culture. They like to have fun in the process, but they also have a mission. They also have a, you know, we have value system, and we go over those values, like even in our own small group meetings with our franchise, our locally owned franchise, that's heavily accented. And, you know, we really harp on those.
Yeah, which is obviously very important to build a
Yes.
culture, because you have the
Yes.
neighborly culture, but you also have to build your culture with
Yeah.
your team.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of the strong suits of that? I mean, obviously you've had such a unique background and so much leadership experience. I'm sure you can bring that into your team and into your culture at Mr. Electric. So what are some of the things that you do to really like improve that culture every day?
Yeah, so I think it's a process, and learning and trying to figure out and tweak it, every day.
Yeah.
And it also depends on the people that you're working with.
Mhm.
So the culture that we want to develop is first of all one of trust, and not only between us, the people that you work with every single day, but with us, we think that translates over to our customers. So
Yeah,
we
for sure.
we have what we call the Done Right promise. We warranty all of our work, and if they don't like the look of something, they don't, if something goes wrong, which we hope that doesn't happen after we're already in there working
course,
on
but
it.
yeah.
We'll come back in there and fix it 100%.
Nice. That's a very unique policy. Yeah. So you would say like that's one of the differentiators between your company and Mr. Electric and maybe some of the other electric companies that are out there. What other differentiators would you say stand you apart from some of the competition?
So we really try to build value into coming into your home. We really want to leave it better than we found it. So if we come in there and do work, we're going to clean up after ourselves. You're not going to know that we were there, except for whatever improvement that we made. We're licensed. Our electricians will have a limited licensed electrical license. That's all. It's a handful of words.
Yeah.
But
L's.
But they will not only have their electrical experience, they'll also have that license, which is a test that you need to go up in Nashville and take for the state to certify you.
Excellent.
We get inspections from the state inspectors to clear our work and make sure it's good to go. When we come into your home, we're putting on our booties. We're doing a free home safety check, which would include anything like from your smoke detectors, checking the age of them, your carbon monoxide, your panel.
Yeah.
He'll take the panel off the cover off your panel and make sure that everything in there is looking like it's safe and secure. He'll take a look at if you have home surge protection on the outside of your house to protect all like your your high cost items like your electronics and your big appliances.
Right, yeah. So preventative maintenance really is kind of one of the key things that, those inspections look for.
Yeah.
Just talking to homeowners, what are some of the things that, you emphasize when it comes to preventative maintenance for the homeowner? Obviously, the home is probably someone's most expensive asset, their most important asset at that point in their lives. So preventative maintenance is so important for them to keep that, that asset protected as best as possible. So what are some of the things that you as a business owner and your techs that go out and your electricians that go out emphasize when they meet a homeowner and maybe they see something wrong or, maybe they don't see anything wrong, but there could be something that's done better? What are some of the things that you guys tell them?
So our technicians will look for safety issues, number one. Do you have the GFI protection, near any type of water sources or tamper resistant, like if you have children, tamper resistant outlets, where they might be playing or sleeping. Most of the safety items that we see might be like flickering lights or, stuff that doesn't work at all. And just making sure that there's not a safety issue with that.
Yeah.
Other than that, we're asking, do you have any upcoming projects, that we can provide a quote for? And obviously, we'll provide them a quote for whatever we came out there for.
Right. How is it with like reoccurring customers? Because obviously, I mean, I would assume that most homeowners only need an electrician after something has happened. Like it's like an afterthought. It's not as much as preventative maintenance as we would like. So what are some of the maybe not issues, but what are some of the things that you have to deal with for gaining reoccurring customers? And then if you do get a reoccurring customer, like what are one of the things like the values that you instill to keep that customer as one of your?
So we offer what we call a Advantage plan. It's like a membership. So it's a 1 year or a 3 year. And if a customer purchases that when we come in and do whatever task they've asked us to do, it'll give us 15% discount.
Oh, nice.
And then also it'll, like if they have a need or an emergency, we're going to put them to the front of the schedule.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so they'll get priority scheduling.
Okay.
If they're a member.
No, that's incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
15% is a great
big,
discount.
yeah.
Because electric work is not cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably per hour for the electrician that's out there, and then whatever parts are needed, the expertise. So it's definitely not an inexpensive thing to work on your home. So that's a really incredible savings. In terms of like your customers, who is like your target customer? Who are the people that like you love going into their homes, you love doing work with them? Like, who are the homeowners that you tend to seek out if to get those customers?
Well, probably middle income homes that are like 250,000 or more. And we do like our coverage area is College Grove, Thompson Station, Columbia, and Spring Hill. So any of those areas. I know Columbia has some older homes that maybe have some more issues, that might come up.
Right.
Older electrical wiring and those types of things. So we do like to help out with those types of things. Probably about 80% of our customers are residential, and 20% we do like light commercial.
Okay.
So we can, help out local businesses as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So in terms of like what you stand for and like Mr. Electric as a whole, what would you say are some of like your greatest strengths with your company, with your culture, with your electricians, just in general?
Yeah. So like my big thing is customer service, and that goes from the communication that goes out telling you that our tech is on his way, to them showing up on time, to us returning phone calls, answering any questions, concerns, and then making sure you're happy with the work before we leave. And if you're, if something's maybe not where you wanted it, we'll put it where you want it. We'll try to make sure that, we can communicate all that ahead of time.
Yeah.
But I think customer service is our biggest thing, and I think a lot of people are trying to find that these days when it comes to anything home related.
Yeah, because it's so important, because, I mean, being a homeowner, sometimes you're not either comfortable with people coming into your home. We went through the COVID pandemic where we definitely didn't want people to come into our homes. But then there's also just like that trust aspect of you just having to like somehow get them to trust you and your technicians and your and just everyone that's getting the job done. So how are some of the ways that you like instill trust within your customers?
So it goes back to building that value again. We want to make sure that, from the moment we knock on your door, that, we're introducing ourselves, that we're background checked before we come into your home. We have a license. We're totally, 100% insured. So you can feel comfortable just with that piece of it. And then, us just asking questions. We're not going to hard sell anybody on anything. We want to make sure that your questions are answered.
Yeah.
We've gone into homes and flipped a breaker back on for people, no charge, just because it was something simple. So we just want to create trust in the community where you can tell your neighbor, Mr. Electric came out and they took care of this for me, and refer us.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What's one of the craziest stories that you have? Like,
oh, gosh.
I mean, not giving away too many details on like the homeowner or anything, but what's like one story that just stands out that you're just like, maybe I don't ever want to relive that, or maybe it was so good you're like, I wish that happened every day.
Yeah. We've been into some homes where people have been involved in illegal activities. Yeah, and I think just like some homes, like, and it's unfortunate, like it's just some people like, like the hoarding situation.
Yeah, we're really familiar with that with adroit restoration or remediation.
That can be difficult for our technicians to kind of work around, or even troubleshoot, because it's hard to find, where outlets are, or things like that. I'm trying to think. I know we've had some, but right now I'm drawing a blank.
Do you all do like if it's a new build, would you go in and like do the entire electric work for the entire home, or is it more of like a maintenance aspect?
Yeah, so we're focusing more on the maintenance aspect. We have done, smaller projects like that, like shops that might need, they just built a shop and they need the wiring done. We've done that, but at the size we're at right now, that's not something we're going to focus on.
Yeah,
it's hard to service, the regular maintenance types of needs if you're working on a big project and you're tied up.
Yeah, that's definitely maybe down the line, down the pipeline.
In the future.
In the future.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think, some of the things we've been doing lately a lot is the EV charger installations. That's a huge thing for homeowners, and we're finding that a lot of homeowners are buying their Tesla or whatever car it is, and then finding out that the EV charger installation is going to be a little more complicated, because sometimes the panel where we have to install the breaker is like on the opposite side of the garage.
Yeah.
So it's not like sometimes it's not a quick, we're just going to put it right below the box in the garage, because that box may not have enough room in it. And the inspectors are wanting us to do it on the main panel. And sometimes, like I said, that's opposite. And so that involves a lot of wire, a lot of expense.
That's an incredible, like I didn't even think about that, but like with the rise of EVs, and I mean, I don't know what the percentage is here in Nashville that have EVs, but I mean, you see them all over the road. So I didn't even think about that. That's definitely probably, they have to rewire their infrastructure basically, right? To get enough power to the house.
Yeah, so it's just bringing it in. It's just distance, and sometimes like if the home doesn't have, a crawl space, then you're possibly running it through the yard
and like digging, like going out there,
or through the attic.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's crazy.
So just like things like that to for people to think about.
Yeah. I mean, what other things do you see in the future that homeowners might need to, think about ahead of time or be cautious about? Like any trends that you're seeing in the, electric world that average homeowners aren't thinking about?
So right now we're operating, Tennessee operates in the code book for 2017.
Okay.
It's 2024. And there have been some iterations that have come out since then. So I think, they will be at some point transitioning to those newer codes. So for example, I know like some of the new homes being built, they're required to have the shut off for electric on the outside of the home for emergency services.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. So like if something were to happen at a home that was under the 2017 code, they would then have to get everything altered in order for it to be approved by an inspection under the 2024
No, I
code?
think they'll be grandfathered in, but all the new builds will be.
Oh, and that complicates your business too, because now you have to, like, you obviously are standardized on the 2017 code, but now you have to be completely up to speed on everything.
Yeah,
of what they're
we have
requiring
all
now.
the newer. So as they transition, as the state inspectors transition to the newer codes, we will too, because of to pass any inspections.
Right. How is that keeping up with? I'm sure things change all the time. I can't even imagine how complicated it is to stay up with the regulations, the licenses, the insurance, whatever's required. Is that a tedious burden?
It's a lot, especially for somebody that doesn't have, that background. So luckily with Mr. Electric, we have a master electrician out of Delaware, who we consult with a lot, just to make sure that we're doing things, the way we need to be.
Yeah.
He's a great, he's a former Navy guy. He's a great person just to bounce ideas off of.
Nice, that's awesome. Another vet.
So we have a community within our franchise and a lot of support, a lot of training. We send our techs to a lot of training. We just had one in Dallas. So it's just like constant, continuing education.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then, so that support comes basically from Neighborly, because they'll provide an overarching, like, guy who knows
Yes.
more information
we have
type of
a
thing.
guy like that.
Okay,
We
that's
have a
really
guy.
awesome. So, I mean, Neighborly sounds like a wonderful company in general. I mean, the support they provide, you know, the backbone that they give the company, the name, the brand recognition, and all of that. Is there anything else that like stands out that you as an individual or you as a company, you know, recognize and appreciate from Neighborly?
I think we just, you know, we appreciate, you know, their support and the fact that we can reach out anytime,
Yeah.
you know, we get stuck on something and, you know, they're there to help us work through it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially too, it's not easy, you know, running and operating your own business and making sure that you're not only taking care of your team, but you're also taking care of yourself. I mean, you have a family, you know, your husband and everything. Like you guys are in it together, so it's wonderful that there's that extra layer of support for your whole family and your whole team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have like what other cool stories like any, like?
Yeah. Gosh, let me think. I'm sorry. I'm thinking.
You can go back to like your Army days too, like.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, it's mostly for your business, but anything that you know comes to mind that's exciting.
Yeah. Cool story is my daughter is at the Naval Academy right now.
Boo.
So I know, see? And I do have a couple, you know, I do support her. I have a couple Navy shirts I might wear every once in a while.
Yeah.
You're like,
Well, we've been doing really well in the Army Navy games recently,
Yes.
so I'm sure it's really fun at your household during
It
the
is.
December time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This semester, my daughter is going to West Point for the exchange.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
So she gets to
So-
see the other side. See, now that would have been something so cool to do as a
Yeah.
cadet, is to
Yeah.
just like take a semester and go either live abroad or go to another service academy.
Yeah.
Just
I was like, you know, my husband and I were both like, are you just not telling her, no, don't do it, because she didn't really ask our opinion, but we were like, are you sure? You know, there's nothing up there.
yeah, like there's nothing, there's no Annapolis. There's
You
nothing
have
fun
so
to
much
do.
more fun where you are.
Yeah,
You know.
she's gonna find Highland Falls.
Yes.
Yeah, and they got rid of all the good spots
Yeah.
in
like
Highland Falls.
That pizza place.
Yep,
I
that
can't
Shades.
Yeah.
Is Shades still there?
Is it
I think
Shades?
it's gone.
I think Shades is gone. They got rid of, what's the bar?
Is it the Irish?
Irish Eyes? Do you go to Irish Eyes?
I don't remember that.
That was a rugby bar for
Okay.
us. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Highland Falls is just changing. I think they threw in a Chipotle maybe and like a Subway.
Okay, well that's
Cool.
yeah. At least someplace to.
Yeah. That's really good. I'm really. Does your daughter know what she wants to do after graduation?
She wants to go to space.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, you know, that's a moonshot.
It's probably a lot for you as a
Yeah.
parent to be like, oh,
Yeah.
well, do you really want to do that?
Yeah, well, just not Mars.
Yeah.
Go to the moon.
Wow. Going to the International Space Station would be such a dream.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
She's learning Russian right now. So,
Nice. Yeah, that's that's what
yeah.
you need to speak up there.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
So
She's a rock star.
Exciting things for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then your other, is it a son,
So
daughter?
I have 3 daughters total.
Wow.
My middle daughter just graduated high school. She's going to Clemson.
Okay.
Major in landscape architecture.
So cool.
Yeah.
Good for her.
And then my youngest is going to be a freshman in high school.
Wow. Okay, so you still have your hands full. There's still people at home. You're
Yes.
still very busy with family and
Yes.
everything. Awesome. And are you here in Nashville?
So I'm in Columbia.
Okay.
So just a little bit,
Yeah, just
South
right
of here.
outside.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome.
not too far.
Thank you so much, Tar, for being here. I mean, just being able to like represent your brand as part of a MyHome brand. I mean, it's gonna be so wonderful in the future where we get to like work together as a team and everything.
Thank you for the opportunity, because we're super excited and everything that you guys have put in place.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to.
We're gonna change some homeowners here in
Yes,
Nashville. That's for
yes,
sure.
for sure.
Yeah, we got to get My Home in the hands of every homeowner here in Nashville, and then we're gonna start scaling after that.
Yeah.
So, get a good word in for Mr. Electric out there, because all the Neighborly branch, hopefully we can get them onto My Home platform, you know, across the country. So, yeah, it's gonna be good.
Thank you.
You're the start of it. You're gonna be the voice for all the Neighborly brands.